All right, welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a huge skill upgrade for any data scientist, how to take your work from a lonely notebook and turn it into a live, interactive application that anyone can use.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever built an amazing model, found some incredible insights, but then it just sits there in a Jupyter notebook on your hard drive? If your best work is trapped like that, it's not making the impact it could. Today, we're going to fix that.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why moving past notebooks is so crucial. Then we'll get into the essential tools you'll need. After that, a very important bit on security. Then we'll compare your deployment options. And we'll wrap up by talking about the shift from analyst to build.
Okay, let's just jump right in. To really make a difference, your analysis and your models, they need to get out into the world. People need to be able to see them, play with them, and use them. That means turning our Python scripts into real interactive applications.
You know, a plain Python script doesn't know how to talk to a web browser. It's just not built for it. That's where a web framework comes in. It's the essential scaffolding that handles all the messy web protocol stuff so you can focus on your data logic and building out the interface.
In the Python world, you've pretty much got two main paths here, and they highlight a classic trade-off: simplicity versus control. Streamlit is all about simplicity. It just reruns your script from top to bottom whenever a user does something. This feels really natural if you're coming from notebooks. Flask, on the other hand, is all about control. It lets you define specific routes and endpoints, giving you this fine-grained power to build custom APIs or really complex apps.
So here's the key takeaway. You need to know how these two scale. If you're building something to explore a really complex dataset, Streamlit is amazing. But if your application needs lots of different features, say user logins, multiple pages, different API behaviors, that's where Flask really starts to shine. Getting this choice right at the beginning is going to save you so many headaches down the road.
All right, so you've picked your framework. Now what? Let's talk about the gear you absolutely need. These are the non-negotiable tools to get your app off your laptop and out into the world in a way that's reliable and repeatable.
Ah, yes. The 5 most infamous words in software development. We've all said them, and we've all been on the receiving end of them. This phrase right here, this is the exact problem that a solid deployment process is meant to solve forever.
And the solution is this ridiculously simple text file. You need to think of your requirements.txt file as a binding contract for your code. It's a precise list of every single library your project depends on down to the exact version. So when a server reads this file, it can build a perfect clone of your environment. It works on my machine suddenly becomes it works everywhere.
Okay, here's another super important distinction. That little server that starts up when you type Flask run, that's your development workbench. It's for you and you alone. It is absolutely not built to handle real traffic from lots of users. For that, you need a production-grade server like Gunicorn. It's built from the ground up for performance, security, and handling whatever the real world throws at it.
So, how does a big, tough production server actually talk to your Python application? Well, it's through something called WSGI. The best way to think about it is as a universal adapter. You know, like when you travel, your Flask app has a Python plug, and the big web server has a different kind of socket. WSGI is the adapter that clicks in between, letting them talk to each other perfectly.
And this whole stack, this whole chain of events, is actually pretty elegant. The request comes in from a browser. It first hits a web server like NGX, which you can think of as the bouncer. It handles security and traffic. Then it passes the request to the WSGI server, Gunicorn, which is like the manager. Gunicorn oversees a team of workers which are all running copies of your app. Your app does its thing, processes the request, and sends the answer all the way back down the line.
Okay, we need to pause and talk about something incredibly important: security. Specifically, how we handle sensitive stuff like API keys and passwords without accidentally posting them for the whole world to see.
This right here is the cardinal sin of development. You never, ever, ever type a password or an API key directly into your code. The second you commit that to a public place like GitHub, automated bots will find it, I'm talking minutes, and your accounts will be totally compromised. It's a huge mistake.
So the right way to handle this when you're developing is with a great little library called python.env. It's a simple workflow. You put your secrets in a special file named .env. Then, and this is the most important step, you add .env to your .gitignore file. That tells Git to never track it. Then in your code, you just load the variables from that file. Your secrets are safe, and they never touch your version control history.
Now, what's really clever here is that this is a two-part strategy. For local development, you use that convenient .env file. But when you deploy to a real server, you do not upload that file. Instead, you use the hosting platform's built-in secure secret storage. Your code doesn't change, but where it gets the secrets from does. It's secure from beginning to end.
Okay, we've got the concepts down, we've got the tools in our toolkit. Now for the final piece of the puzzle. Where do we actually host this thing? Choosing the right platform is all about balancing how easy you want it to be versus how much control you need.
We're going to look at 4 really popular options that are perfect for data scientists getting started. Think of them as your allies: Streamlit Cloud, Hugging Face Spaces, Render, and PythonAnywhere. Each one has its own personality and is built for a different kind of job. To help make this choice a little bit easier, we've put together a quick comparison matrix. This should help you see at a glance which one might be the best fit for what you're trying to build.
Let's just walk through this. If you have a Streamlit app and just want it online like right now, Streamlit Cloud is an absolute no-brainer. It's insanely easy. If you're building a public machine learning demo, Hugging Face is the community hub. For more general-purpose apps or APIs where you need a bit more control, Render is fantastic. And if you really want to learn the nuts and bolts of how hosting works, PythonAnywhere is an amazing, albeit more involved teacher. But pay very close attention to those free tier limitations. An app that goes to sleep after 15 minutes might be a deal breaker for you.
So we have covered a ton of ground. But this isn't just about learning a few new commands. This is about a fundamental change in what you're capable of. It's about making that leap from being an analyst to truly becoming a builder.
So let's lock in the key lessons. It all comes down to this. Choose the right framework for the job, Streamlit for simplicity, Flask for control. Use requirements.txt as an unbreakable contract to make your work reproducible. Use a real production server for real users. Keep your secrets safe and out of your code. And finally, pick a hosting platform that actually fits the needs of your project.
Look, mastering deployment is a massive first step into the bigger world of MLOps. Once you're comfortable with this, a whole new universe opens up. You can start exploring things like containerizing your apps with Docker, automating everything with CI/CD pipelines, and even managing your cloud setup with code.
This skill set fundamentally changes your role. You're not just someone who finds insights anymore. You're someone who builds the tools that deliver those insights to other people. That is a legitimate superpower. So, the only question left is, what are you going to build first?